to Monday Night Live 20. So hello everyone, welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. We've got a shop here in Brisbane, and I'm by myself tonight. Normally there's Craig or Warren or someone else here with me. However, tonight I'm all by my lonesome, so, well, not really. I've got quite a number of you people with me, so make sure you say g'day. I get very lonely sitting here talking to myself, of course. So tonight we're going to give away, same deal as every other week, share this post, and tonight we're giving away a Garrett gold pan kit. Share the post and I'll send this out to one lucky punter at the end of the show. So that's what's happening tonight. We've got a number of things. I've got a number of things to question. You see the picture behind me here. That's a picture of the other morning. Warren and I and a couple other people went out to. We went out detecting at Warwick, and I pulled up on the side of the road and just took that picture, which I thought was quite good. The fog in the morning out there, halfway to Warwick. So, and we've got some other interesting updates. Someone just asked about the divining. I have an update. I have a full update on the divining. I haven't got a pair of divining rods here, but I had a really good crack at the divining. So we're going to do that. I've got a new little product that's come in this week, and we always get questions about which is the best detector, which is the biggest beginning detector. That's the biggest question. So mixed in with all the more experienced stuff, we're going to do a little bit of that beginner's detector stuff. I've got a few machines here that we'll just rattle through, and we'll do a little bit of that as well. So, g'day to everyone. Matt, Michelle, Carmen, Greg, Susie, Neil, Henny's here. G'day, Henny. Who else is here? There is stacks and stacks of Bob, Jared, Chris, heaps and heaps of people here. Thank you very much for joining us. It's fantastic to have you all here. So, yeah, make sure we share that. And if you have got any questions, I have got some questions from last week that we missed. Yeah, I have got some questions here from last week, but if you've got any questions, just sing out, please sing out. So, Gary's here. Gary says AT-Max and the Pro Pointer go together. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, David makes a good point. Gold's in the air. It looks like gold's in the air. We had no luck, David. So the only gold I saw that day was that sunrise. So, yep, the young guns are here, and Andrew, Chris. Right, so let's get started. So the first question I always get is really young kids. How do we get them into detecting? To start with, you've got to get them hooked. You've got to get them loving metal detecting and finding stuff. My young bloke is a fraction young at the moment, but he has a here he is here. He has a pretty good crack. He runs around with one of these little machines. This is a Bounty Hunter Junior. Very simple. I don't know whether I can show you this clearly on the screen here, but it has emojis. It tells you, it's how the kids talk in emojis. You get a good target, a medium target, and a rubbish target, and they're all different emojis and different sounds. So it's a great little beginner's machine for the kids. Now, that, just to give you an idea, that machine there is shrunk down as small as it can go in that picture that Finn's in. So that's the smallest it goes. It will go up to, 13, 14, 15, depending on how old the kid is. And it's a good little detector. It works really well. So For those like joining us tonight, tonight's prize is gold pan kit, drawn the same way. Yeah, just share this post, and yeah, at the end of the, at 8:30, in about an hour's time, just under an hour's time, we'll draw it out. We'll let the randomizer draw it out, and we'll and that'll go out to someone in the next couple of days. Right, so yeah, the trick with it, Mark makes a good point. Son, he's got a son who's 8, is addicted to relic hunting, and I think that a lot of kids spend too much time behind the screens. It's hard to get them outside, and you get out there with a little machine and you're both doing it, you're both involved, and you do a bit of gold panning and you do a bit of this, and you're always finding something, bits and pieces. It's just a wonderful way to spend time with your kids. So, and some of these places you go are quite remote and quite harsh, but some of these places are beautiful. Like there's some little places in New South Wales that I duck into, like northern New South Wales. There's a bit of gold in there, and just some fantastic spots by the creek to have a camp and do a bit of detecting, mucking around with the kids and the wife and what have you. So yeah, so that's the way to get them in early. So so we'll just put this background back up, and we'll just get rid of that as well. So, right. Lots of people here saying they've got their kids in it, kids involved in it, and their wife involved in it. That's the hardest thing to, the kids aren't so bad. They just love spending time with you, but sometimes my wife isn't quite as keen on it, so I bought her a new flash machine, and she's showing a lot more interest in it these days with this. She's got a nice XP Deus machine. So yeah, that's how for toddlers I'd get them into it. Just a little machine like that, a gold pan kit. That's not, it's not cheap, but that's $159, but it works. So, and that's the most important thing. You don't want something that doesn't work. It'll drive them insane. So, yes. Annette, my son found half a crowbar. Only half. Wow, that's, she wasn't impressed. Half a crowbar. Wonder where the other half is. Yes. Nadia, this is not coffee. Asking what's in my cup. So there's a bit of ice in the top of it there, but we'll put it over here. So, so let's just knock these over. So when we're talking about machines, there's a question you have to ask before that. Do you want to go gold detecting, or do you want to detect on the beach? Those two things really need a ground balancing machine. What I mean by that is a machine that can tune the ground out. A lot of the cheaper machines don't have a ground balance on them, so they can't tune the ground out. So when you take them into those really extreme environments, like the gold fields, like down the beach, they struggle with that highly mineralised ground. So the only way to do it is to wind the sensitivity back, and therefore you're winding your depth back. So if you just want to start out dry sand on the beach, parks for coins, old military sites, that sort of thing, something like, there's stacks of machines. There is stacks and stacks of machines. I just picked this one up because it was handy, Ace 200, and we give them away on the show, so I thought, we'll show it again. Ace 200, great, simple, basic machine. Not too much to it, very, very simple to use. Only about $300, just over $300. And being a Garrett branded machine, very good resale if you don't use it. So that's a good machine for just a starter machine. Now it will struggle in the It will struggle out in the gold fields. You'll have to wind the sensitivity back. It just won't work out there. Well, it will work, but you're not getting a whole stack of depth. So that's where it's going to struggle there. So, right, so a few questions here. Gerald makes a good point. If you've got a pinpointer, quite often that's a good first detector for the kids. That way it, yeah, so that way they're detecting and helping you find the target, and that's a great way to get them involved. So, right, okay, so, yeah, everyone makes good points here. If you make it fun and exciting, the kids will just love it. They'll just thoroughly enjoy it. So, if we talk about ground balancing machines, they start to go dearer, okay? So, the cheapest ground balancing machine really is the Bounty Hunter. Oh, well, it's around the cheapest. Bounty Hunter, let's try that way around. Land Ranger Pro. Just over $700. Good quality machine. Bounty Hunter makes some decent machines, and very simple to use again, but it's got a ground balancer on it. So if you want to take that down to the beach, or you want to take it to the goldfields, let's say you're in Claremont, Mount Morgan, you know, out where the Warwick, the Golden Triangle, Western Australia, you need a machine that ground balances. So something like this, or now that's $750, AT Pro, phenomenal machine. Now the AT Pro is getting up there. It's $935, but it's a fantastic beginner's machine if you're in those highly mineralised areas. If you're out in the goldfields, you want a good quality machine that's got some grunt. Xterra 705, like the stacks of machines. Obviously, what happens now on the stream is everyone says, what about 705? What about macro? What about Technetics? What about all of these other machines? The stacks of different machines. Not saying none of them are bad, it's just I had these sitting around. So Xterra 705 and the Gold Pack is good. AT Max from Garrett's good. Again, we do a gold pack for the, I think we're one of the very few people that do a gold pack for the AT Max. I think they're a bit dearer. SDC, Dominic, what's going on with ground balancing on the SDC? I might be able to help you with that. I might have missed that comment, mate. So, you want a machine that's ground balancing. The other funny thing is you get very used to a machine. You get sort of, like I am with the AT Pro. That AT Pro, I've still got an AT Pro kicking around, and I quite often get phone calls to can you come and find a ring? Can you help me find this? Can you? I always grab the AT Pro. It's just such a, it's just that standard mode is just, you just turn it on and go. You don't think about it. You just don't do anything. So yeah, so it's fantastic, that AT Pro. It's a good machine. So Dominic, Dominic, the question before, thinking of upgrading a 705 to the SDC 2300. So are you talking about two different machines there? One's pulse induction and one's VLF. The 705's a VLF machine. So I would think you'd want both, because the SDC won't tell you what the target is. You've got to dig every hole. The 705, you can take relic hunting and still tell that's a coin, that's a pull tab, that's a rusty bit of iron. So I think it's both. I don't think it's an upgrade. I think it's adding another tool to your arsenal. The SDC's a gold machine there, yeah. So I don't think there's any new SDCs coming out that I know of, Tyson. So I'm no expert on what's coming out, and these things tend to surprise me. Like the, I think I mentioned it last week, the Z-Link Carrot from Garrett. I I found out some more information. It's waterproof now to 6 metres, I think. It's doubled its 5 or 6 metres. So it is an upgraded machine. So that'll be good. So yeah, SD2200 is a great machine. So any more questions on those starter machines? We'll do that. Let me just fix this up here. We'll just realised I had some horrible writing on my cup, so had to fix that up. So anyway, right. So when I talk about mineralised ground, okay, people ask where the how mineralised is Queensland versus Victoria and WA, and basically I think ground's found in gold is found in mineralised ground. Simple as that. There's patches at Warwick that are very, very highly mineralised. There's patches in WA where you can't even get near with a metal detector. And I know of a couple of spots in Warwick where even pulse induction machines won't work out at Warwick. So, same as in Victoria. Some of those experienced blokes will be able to take you to spots there that a machine won't work on. So as far as ground being heavily mineralised, I think you'll find heavily mineralised ground anywhere. So yeah, that's, yeah. Okay, so have I been detecting in, Carl asked if I've been detecting in Adelaide. No, Adelaide is one of the few places I haven't been detecting in. The iced coffee is very good. It's not iced coffee either. Everyone tries to guess what's in my cup, so Andrew asked any info on the detect machines. Not sure. I'll write that down and I'll look at that. Detect machines. I'll have a look at that for next week. Some of these things I need to go and have a look at. Gold Monster 1000. Yeah, good machine, but it's a VLF. It's a VLF designed to go gold hunting. So we pretty much repeat this every week, but $1,000 machine from Bounty Hunter, from Technetics, from Minelab, from Garrett, from XP, from Macro, from DTech, they're all probably going to be pretty similar performance-wise. So, you know, it's just then picking a machine that you like the sound of, you like the feel of it in your hand. Yeah, so that's more what it's about, what you're comfortable with and how easy it is to drive, and you know, that's what it's about. There are leaps in front. So for instance, like the Ace 200 in that price bracket, geez, it's hard to beat that Ace 200 from Garrett. The Minelab Excalibur, phenomenal machine on the beach. Like, if you want to go diving or shallow water hunting, it's a phenomenal machine. You want to go hunting gold over in WA and you want to look for big gold, like, go and spend 10 grand and get yourself a 7000. So, you know, there's good machines out there. Like that AT Max is a phenomenal little multi-purpose machine. You know, like, there's stacks of machines out there. So I actually am using a fair bit my wife's XP Deus machine, and it's like, I love that. It's a bit, you know, I'm geeking out on that a little bit. So yeah, and I'm a firm, like, I use a lot of different branded machines, so I'm a firm believer that 80% of it's operator. So if you know that machine back to front, right, you'll be better than anyone who's spent 10 times the money and what have you. So 80% of it's operator. So Nicole, lots of questions about the SDC tonight. Someone told me they're bringing out a new coil for the SDC. I believe the coil's fixed, Nicole. But who knows? I haven't heard that, but there's a few questions about a few questions about the SDC 2300, whether there's an upgrade and what have you. So I might look into that as well, just have a bit of a look at things, and maybe something new is happening there. So yes. So Glenn asks a good question about relics, and it's how do you find bottles with a detector? It's actually very simple. You actually come across them, Glenn. You normally find bottles in a dump, and the dump, the dump will have stacks of metal in it, but it'll also have stacks of bottles. Normally those old World War II sites and old farm sites will have both. They have old metal, which your detector will pick up, then the bottles will come out of it. So yes. James, what's better, the ATX or the 7000? Geez, James, you're trying to get me in trouble here, I think. So that's a bit rugged, that question. I think 7000 is great machines. You're comparing a $10,000 machine to a $4,000 machine here, just quietly, but the 7000 is a phenomenal machine. It's finding stacks and stacks of gold. It still can't go under the power lines. The ATX can get under the power lines. It can handle a lot of those salt beaches that a lot of the Minelab machines can't. So horses for courses. If I was doing it for a living, I'd certainly have both. I'd probably have a 5000 in the truck as well. And I'd probably have, so, you know, I'd have a few machines, so I wouldn't rule out either of those machines. Nadia's heard that there's a new coil coming for the SDC. Oh, it might not be from Minelab, but I didn't think that. Oh, maybe the coil's detachable. I've never really tried to pull one apart on the SDC, so that will be very, very interesting to see what they do with that then, if that's coming out. I suppose it's Coil Tech or someone like that doing it. So, Mark, that's a very, very big question. Mark asked, when detecting, what signs, things to look out for when looking for relics or coins. So a lot of that's research. So it's looking, where do people gather? What activities was going on? And not just last weekend, but 100 years ago. What was happening at that point in time? Is this an old showground that's been used for 100 years? Is this a school that opened up in 1867? Is this a, you know, did the ferry that used to cross the Yarra River, did it unload here? Yeah, so that's how I think about that. I also look at, I'm also looking for old nails, if you go looking for an old house site, stumps, yeah, so that's what I would think. So, okay. Equinox 800 on the goldfield, Margaret. Margaret, I think that they've really put out the Gold Monster as their VLF gold machine. I think the Equinox will work out in the goldfields, but the Gold Monster, yeah, the Gold Monster is probably the machine for the goldfields. So, but yeah, I'm not quite sure about that. So I don't know which way. So yes, SDC 2300 is amazing on little gold, but let me give you the tip. If you've got an ATX and you put that little 8-inch monocoil on it, I know for a fact that those two machines are so similar with that 8-inch monocoil on it. There's not much between them. And I've done that test, and I know for a fact that that's the way to go. Right, so what else have we got here? Okay, Kyla asks, and I get this question once or twice a week. Detecting with and without coil covers. So the coil cover makes virtually no difference at all to the depth you're going to get. It will reduce your coil by the thickness of the plastic. That's it. So put the coil cover on it, save the coil. So yes. And then what was that other question there? What's the rule with pumps? In New South Wales, I believe they're banned in New South Wales for 12-volt submersible pumps. I am looking into that a fair bit at the moment, particularly on a Queensland level, but I will look at it from a New South Wales level. In fact, Matt, I'm sure that it's not allowed a 12-volt pump. So, yes. Stephen talks about the Xterra 705 on the goldfields, and they've told they won't perform on the goldfields. They're a VLF machine on the goldfields. Certainly, I believe the better quality, the more expensive machines will work better on the goldfields, the better quality VLF machines. So we're talking Equinox Gold Monster. I don't know quite how that fits, but out of those two, AT Max certainly does, AT Gold, XP Deus, Fisher F75, like all those machines are pretty good. Gold Bug, they're all, they're all phenomenal machines, but they're all dearer machines. So the 705 is sort of a cross between AT, so that sort of half answers that question. Tony, would you go to any one club meeting if they call you? As long as I don't bring my coffee mug. Yeah, Tony, I'm available. I'm available. You have to talk to my booking agent. I have to find a booking agent. So, yes. So, David makes a point about the 5000. The Nugget find a Sadie coil. Those little Sadie coils will go really, really small. So, most places it's illegal to run a high banker. So a high banker is I haven't even got a picture of a high banker. Actually, I have got a picture. This is a fairly large high banker. And when I say large high banker, let me get over here a little bit so I can make this picture bigger. This is out at Warwick. Some of you all know where this is, but this is out at Warwick. This is a very, very large high banker. So this is a wash plant out at Warwick. I believe it's a stamper battery. Well, it used to have a stamper battery there as well. But yeah, this is just a high banker and they run the gravel through it, whether it's crushed gravel or what have you. And it'll have a sluice and it'll separate out the gold. So that's basically what a high banker is. We'll leave that one up there for a while. It's a cool bit of, there's a lot of this gear kicking around, old infrastructure that gets left behind. It's just phenomenal. I love how this stuff gets left around and preserved, and you know, like that was a big plant, and it's got see up here, it's got lights on it, so it's not that old. It's got fairly modern looking lights on it. So, but anyway, I like that stuff. So, Yes, Sue, your husband is a gold digger. She asks if her husband digs the holes. Does that make him a gold digger? Yes. Yes, Danny makes a good point here that he's having good luck with the Equinox 800 on the beach. Hasn't been out to the red dirt yet. Is that, Danny, are you running that in the water? It'd be interesting to see how it handles that salt water. So, right, Chris says, guess I have my wife coming with me. Started down the beach, found some coins and a bracelet and a ring, which we handed to the police and they said if not claimed they're ours. Beautiful, Chris. I'll tell you that's one way to get the partner involved is the jewellery on the beach, or having a nice little gold nugget that you've found made into a pendant. That's another cracking way to do it. So can't wait to get out. Yes, Tyson, that is Pratton. G'day, Ian from the UK. Welcome aboard, mate. And don't forget, if you're from overseas, you still can enter the prize to win a Garrett Gold Pan kit. The Garrett Gold Pan kit is, yes. So you've just got to share this post. We'll bring the randomizer up later, and we'll, yes, we'll share the, and it'll pick someone that we shared the post with. So, right. So I have an Ace, Ian. I have an Ace 250 and a Euro. What am I best to upgrading to next? Ian, I would, if you're sticking with, you sound like you're a Garrett bloke, so I would suggest AT Max would be my suggestion. So that would be my suggestion there, Ian. So, right, we've got lots of comments here. I'm losing track of all the comments. This is what happens when I don't have an offsider with me, but that's okay. Okay. John asked a question actually from last week, and a few people responded, but I just want to remind people, he's looking for information on a belt buckle that he's found detecting. On it is a lightweight championship belt of the Murchison Goldfields. So obviously it's a boxing belt of some description, which is pretty cool, in the Goldfields. Presented by a young esquire. So John, if you're looking for more information, if you know any information about boxing belt buckles from particularly Murchison Goldfield ones, get in contact with me or look up, yeah, it might take you a long time to look up John in the comments last week, but yeah, just get in contact with me. I've got his post flagged there, so that's a really interesting one. And if John, if you're listening, I might actually send you, see if I can get a picture of that, because that sounds very, very interesting. I love that stuff. So yeah, so okay, so what's next here? What other questions have we got? Right, so just so if you don't know who I am, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. Tonight we're giving away this prize here. It's a Garrett Gold Pan kit. This is the big Gold Pan kit. It's got the 4 pans in it. All you have to do is share this post and yeah, and be around it in about 25 minutes. We'll draw that out, and we can go from there. Okay, so okay, so I've got it with me now. What other questions have we got here? Let me just track it down here. The other question I get is what will I get? What machine will I get for a? I'm a grey nomad. I'm going for the trip around Australia. What machine will I? What machine am I best to get? So I often think that the best machine to get is a multi-purpose machine. So you want a machine that's can handle a lot of different conditions. You don't want a machine that's only good for gold. You want a machine that can do a bit of both, or you need to go to a two machine solution. So the ideal two machine solution is a pulse induction machine for your gold nuggets and a VLF machine for your beaches, parks, relics, and also out in the goldfields. So that would be my suggestion. And to do that, for a two machine solution is a lot of money. So if you're just looking for a one machine solution, I would be looking at Garrett AT Max. I would be looking at Equinox 800. I would be looking at Technetics G2. I would be looking at XP Deus. I would be looking at Fisher F75. I would be looking at, and what we're talking about here is top end VLF machines from each brand. That's what you're looking for. So, you know, Minelab's 3030, great multi-purpose machine. So what my suggestion normally is get a top end VLF machine for a multi-purpose machine. And we're not talking a lot of money. Like Garrett AT Max and Equinox are about Minelab Equinox are about $1,200. So, you know, that's what my suggestion would be. Get a good quality, high-end VLF machine. So, what about a magnet? Bodil asks. Sorry, Bodil, I pronounced that wrong. I know that for a fact. So people do magnet fishing, which is you get a big strong magnet. We sell them here at the shop. I haven't got any here with me because I get into trouble with them because they're very strong magnets. And you basically throw them in a creek or down a mine shaft and you pull up whatever you find. So it'll stick to anything magnetic. So phenomenal bit of fun. Yeah, so that's magnet fishing. So, right, there was another question there. Robert's from Thailand. Hello from Thailand, Robert. We get people from all over the road. So, Nicole makes a good point here. They've got a Garrett AT Max. There's two of them, Nicole and Brett. They've got a Garrett AT Max and they've got a GPX 4500. Now, that's like you've got a pulse induction machine, you've got a VLF machine, you can handle any conditions. So that's a perfect two-person setup. So, and these pulse induction machines that Whites make one, Minelab make one, like Minelab are the industry standard if you like, but the GPX, the 3000, the 4500, the 5000, the 7000, they're all great machines. Expensive machines, but great machines. So, yes, so, yes, so there's stacks and stacks of comments here. Magnets, Damo asked the question, how much are the magnets? I start them at $99 for a little one that I think lifts about 60 kilos. Then I go up to like $250 for like the death magnet. It's like this big giant magnet that I always get myself in trouble with because I stick it to things and then I can't get it off. So it's a bit of a bugger. I'm yet to stick it to a vehicle. So if you see some lunatic driving around the goldfields with a magnet stuck to his bonnet, that'd be me. But that hasn't happened as yet. But I came close one day to putting it on the car by mistake. That is so. Right, so Stephen asked a question, best resources for gold locations in Victoria. Stephen, Doug Stone, John Tolley maps, yeah, all that stuff, Golden Ghosts, all that stuff is very, very good. However, I find that the electronic resources now are very good as well. So get onto your mines department and really understand the mapping system in that your mines department use. Like the Queensland, so for instance, I know the Queensland system pretty well, and the amount of information on that Queensland mapping system is phenomenal. So, you know, get to know your mapping system get to know your mapping system from your mines department, and get to know it back to front, because there's information, the amount of information is phenomenal on those those mines department. Like most of them you can get, like for instance the Tasmanian one lists who the leaseholders are so you can approach. There is just so much information. Sometimes you can lay the fault lines on top of it and you get all that sort of stuff and put it on it. So yeah, phenomenal. Okay, so let's talk divining. Okay, so the other day Warren and I went out to Warren and I and a few other people went out to Warwick. We had a bit of a detecting day out there, and it was phenomenal. We had a great day, so I spent a lot of the day divining. Right, Warren gave me a lesson a couple of shows ago. I didn't find anything, but what I did find is every time, and I don't know whether it's the operator error, but the divining rods would signal. Every time they signalled, I'd put a scoop down, right? And I'd come up with a detector, and sure enough, every time that divining rod signalled, there was a target there. There was no doubt about that. It was showing on targets. There were other targets in the area that it went across and it didn't pick up anything. However, what we did do is, and a lot of it was hot rocks and rubbish, and we didn't dig any metal targets, just a lot of rubbish. But in 2 or 3 locations, we took home a sample of the soil out of those locations. Now, I probably looked at 50 targets the day that the divining rod signalled on. So we only took three different samples home, if you like. Each one of them showed, when I panned them off, because we didn't have a lot of water with us out there, when I panned them off, each one of those had gold in the pan, every single one. So it was only 3, but it warrants further investigation. Everyone tells me it works. So it was a very, very interesting day. That it really opened my eyes to what was actually going on out there. It was phenomenal. So it was very, very, it surprised me. And Warren was right the other night. If you have never done it, you should give it a crack, because you can feel those divining rods. You can feel them pulling in your hands to direct you where to go, or they cross over, and you think, you're not doing it yourself, because that's the first thing you think. This bloke's doing it himself. But no, it's an incredible thing to do. So I don't know whether it was whether I'm gonna find a big nugget with it, but so Carmen, we do sell divining rods. I believe they're copper alloy, they're chrome, so they look nice and shiny. We've got them in the shop. They're about $25. You can make your own. Some people use old fencing wire. The most important thing, if you go back 2 shows or 3 shows, Warren does a phenomenal explanation on how to use them and how to tune them yourself. He does this ground balancing. You've got to ground balance them to yourself. So it's a very very interesting subject. So that went really. I was fascinated by it. So I really wish I had had more water out there with me, so I could have sampled with the pan all of those all of those spots that the divining rod signalled on, because it seemed to work on every single one, and every single one there was colour in the pan. So anyway, who knows? It's still a bit like, I'm a bit, I don't know. Yes, fencing wire is cheap. They're much cheaper than the ones I do, but just don't cut the fencing wire out of the farmer's paddock. So yes, Annette, it's pretty much similar to water defining. For some people use sticks. Some people, Stephen asked, do you think old timers might have used the divining rails when loaming? I'm sure at some stage they would have. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, so yeah. Yes, I've seen the people hold the crystal pendulum thing that swings around. I've also said, yeah, brazing rods, but I've also seen like these flash, I think they're brass or some sort of copper alloy, but they're like a pendulum thing. They're in a point. They're like a plumb bob, if anyone knows what a plumb bob is. And yet that's supposed to tell you. So it's very fascinating. So I haven't given up on the divining thing yet. So and then exactly probably at the right time of the year, wrong time of the year, we've just got in here. These are actually ex-military fly veils. So they're supposed to protect you from or chase the flies away. So here, basically here they go. They got a bit of elastic round you put round the thingo, and then it basically, I haven't set this one up quite correctly here on the show, but it basically hangs around. This is the second type we do. The other type we do, the neck actually tied around you, not tight, but it actually ties up around your net, and it's fly mesh. I find they get a bit hot. This is a bit cooler. So, because this is a more open mesh, and yeah, the flies can still get through it, absolutely, but it seems to keep them away. So that's a good little thing, and it goes down over the back as well and what have you when you stretch it out. So that's if you're looking for them, it's probably a bit the wrong time of year, but yes. So well, Susie asks a very, very good point here. And Susie, how? So, divining, right? You're out there divining, you go bang, they signal, right? You're standing on some ground. So, the detector, the problem we had is the detector signalled over virtually well, it did signal over every single target. Is that gold, is it signalling on that hot rock, or is it signalling on that gold reef that's running 40 metres below? Like, how do you ever know? You know, like, so I believe they work. I just need to investigate it further. So, and Susie, that's an exactly the thought I had, was that, is this picking up the loose flower gold, or is this picking up the reef that's 23 metres down? Is it, you know, there's so many things. Yeah, so anyway, those fly veils are $10, Nadia. So we've got a stack of them in the shop here. So yes. Okay, so for those who don't know me, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. We've got a shop here in Brisbane. We sell metal detectors and pans and really anything to do with prospecting and fossicking and that sort of thing. And then, yeah, so we do this every Monday night, and normally we have a prize to give away. Sometimes it's a metal detector, sometimes it's a pan kit, sometimes it's a cap, but that's how we roll. So tonight we're giving away a gold pan kit. This is a deluxe gold pan kit. There's 4 gold pans in it. It's from Garrett. So all you have to do is share this live stream. We're going to draw it in about 10 minutes. And we've got a randomizer that randomly chooses someone who shared the post. So yes. Hey, Peter says there's a cow behind me walking around. What, in this paddock? Surely not. So yes. Mikey, I don't run tours because the insurance sucks, basically, is the short version. So sorry about that. I don't do banjo pans, Peter. I think you have to get them online. I haven't been able to find a decent one, to be honest. Right, there was another question. Mick asked a question. Where are the old gold mines on the Gold Coast? Oh, good to see. Chelsea won there a few weeks ago. She got a prize. So, gold mines on the Gold Coast. So, at the turn of the century, there was a gold dredge running on the Nerang River just near the Sundale Bridge. Which most people blows their mind, because to think there's a gold dredge running right there. And then the mountain range closest to the Gold Coast, right? So closest to the coast. It's only a small one. It had mines all the way along it from Beenleigh, I should say, all the way down basically to the border. So, yes. So there was a lot of gold mines, and that's reflected across the whole east coast of Australia. There was gold mines everywhere on the east coast of Australia. Normally it's on the range or through the mountainous areas, pretty close to the coast. So, yes. Turbo pans. I like turbo pans. I don't sell them much, but they're a reasonable pan. I find the Garrett pan, the big super sluice pan, a phenomenal pan. I can normally do it quicker, but that I think is just because that's something I've got used to over the years, where the turbo pan is it's a different action and I'm not used to it, so that's what happened. So Craig asked where are the gold mines around Rocky. Head west, anywhere west is good. So no, we didn't give away the patches last week, Graham. I clean forgot about it, but I'm going to send a whole stack of patches out to a heap of people that I'll run the randomizer after the show, and I'll contact you after the show. Paul asked a question, does your store have a website and online shopping? Yes, we do. It's called Gold Diggers Metal Detectors. It's online, it's on eBay, it's on Amazon. We try to plaster it everywhere. So, and we do free shipping anywhere in Australia. And our pricing works, how we work our pricing is we match the cheapest price anywhere in Australia on a given day. So, yeah. So that's how it works. So yeah, feel free to go on there and have a look. Thanks, Mark. Mark reckons we got enough people to start a TV show. I don't know about that, mate, but we got a few, and I appreciate everyone coming along and joining in. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy having all the comments and what have you, and you know, it's amazing that to have this many people on. We get over 1,000 comments, and virtually the whole time we've been running it, like this is the 20th show, we haven't had a negative comment. Well, we have had a couple of negative comments, but I'm ignoring those. But normally we don't have any negative comments. Everyone's got good questions. I try to answer all the questions as best I can. So it's a really good thing. So Mount Cootha. There was a question about Mount Cootha. Yeah, so if we're talking southeast Queensland here, Jason asked about Sunshine Coast, Mount Cootha, Gympie, yeah, all through that, Maloney, all through that area. Right, so I've got these USBs that have got waypoints on them that we include. The only way to get it is if you buy a machine off it, sort of thing. It's got about 12,000 waypoints on it. But from Mount Cootha, it runs, I believe there's a run of gold that runs all the way through from, well really, it's Indooroopilly, Mount Cootha, Enoggera Forest, all the way through up through to Gympie. I believe that's the same run of gold. And then, you know, there's another run of gold that runs up that Gold Coast range that we're talking about before. So that's the, so it's everywhere. So, there's definitely gold between Mount Cootha and Gympie, that's for sure. Like Enoggera Forest is huge. There's gold all through Enoggera Forest. So, online shop is Gold Diggers Metal Detectors. If you search Gold Diggers Metal Detectors, will appear. You can also do it through the Facebook page, I think. Anyway, I might put a link in. So, Andrew wants me to mail him some gold. No problems, Andrew. Let me rush right out and do it. There you go. Danny's found it and shared it. Thanks, Danny. Superstar. Yes, right. Nathan, if you watched, you asked what's the detector, you suggested the beginner. The first sort of 10 or 15 minutes of the show, that's what we talked about, mate. So, yes, YouTube has the past shows, Facebook has the past shows, so they're all 20 of them there. So, oh, Jody's excited. Where are you from, Jody? Sounds like you might be from the States. We're excited to be given permission to detect some old moonshine camps. Apparently Dole dump site as well. Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic stuff. So, it's all good. Right, where's the randomiser? Let me fire the randomiser up. So you've got precisely about a minute and a half to share this post to win the Garrett Gold Pancakes. Open to anyone in the world. We haven't had a winner from overseas as yet, but open to anyone in the world, and I'll find out a way to send it to Upper Mongolia if that's where you're from. So, so let me get the randomizer going here. We'll get that up and running. Warren has this magical description of the randomizer where it's very agricultural and steam driven and Dodge doors and parts collected from the goldfields. It's not quite as flash as that, so but it's close, so yes. Righto. Right, here we go. So we'll run this now. We're right on 8:30. We'll run this right now, and so Richard, where are you from, Richard? Richard doesn't say where Richard's from. I will have to. Richard, congratulations. I will have to, I'll message you straight after the show because it doesn't say where you are and I don't want to get into your last name. So congratulations, Richard. we'll get this gold pan out to you tomorrow, and I will contact you straight after after the show and organise to get that out to you. So I have a question for everybody. What would you like me to cover next week? We've talked about bush ranges, and we've talked about Eureka and navigation and all the gold, you know, the gilt dragon and mahogany ship. Is there any special requests you've got for the show? We could do a whole night on the, you know, Captain Starlight or Ned Kelly or the gilt dragon, or, you know, any of those shipwreck things or anything like that. So yes, feel free to contact me with any suggestions like that. Also, if you've got any interesting people who'd like to come on the show, it doesn't necessarily, we're working on a system where it doesn't necessarily have to be here in Brisbane, so we can get people on the show from across the country at this stage. So yes, so feel free to make any suggestions, even if you want to make it in a little private message. But yes, thank you all for for the show next week. We'll come up with something, and I'll put a post out much earlier. I needed it half an hour before the show. So thank you all for coming along and joining us tonight, and we'll see you next Monday night with another riveting show. Thanks very much, everyone.